Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special Father's Day edition to Fellowship of Fans for this Sunday stream. Um, Here with me, I have Aiden. How you doing, Aiden?
Oh, I'm doing great on this wonderful Father's Day. I'm here with my only beloved son, my cat, because I am not an official father, but I'm having a great day.
Awesome, awesome. And joining with us, I think for the first time, maybe ever in the History's channel, or maybe in a while, we have Webcrawler joining us today. How are you doing, Webcrawler?
Hey, hello, how's it going, guys? Yeah, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there and would be fathers. I myself am not a father, but I will be celebrating later today with my dad.
Awesome. And a special happy Father's Day to Denethor out there. I hope you're getting many tomatoes.
Oh my gosh, the world's greatest father. I just I watch videos of him when I think of the kind of dad I want to be one day, the kind of man I aspire to be.
I hope
That's how I am with my
Faramir makes
cat.
him a nice card.
Honestly, that kind of is the father I've become. That's how I am with my cats. This is Boromir here basically, and Faramir is not in the room. He's not allowed in here.
Got to give him a chance to show his quality.
We'll see. We'll see.
So tonight's or today, wherever you are, I guess in Europe it's probably tonight, but America we're in the morning, afternoon right now. We decided to kind of cover the new casting, and we'll start out with the casting that's been announced for a while. So we have on screen, we've been talking about them for a couple weeks now. Jamie Campbell Bower, known from Stranger Things, etc. And I think the consensus is top contenders Celeborn, Glorfindel's a close second, and then after that, dealer's choice, some form of elf. Maybe he's evil, but we'll find out. We have Eddie Marson next to him. A lot of theory for Eddie is leaning towards dwarves, and we're thinking it could be Durin's brother, part of the strife that's going to take place in the Dwarven Kingdom. So that was the first casting announcement for season 3. And then we move on to the second tier, which I believe we talked about last week. And we have here Elena Sarl and Carl Queensborough. I want to say, I don't even know. Like, what are your thoughts,
I feel like we
Aiden?
kind of had
Again,
a. I feel like we kind of had a hard time pinning them to specific roles. I know that I made a big issue out of saying that Elena was going to be Celeborn, but I don't know. I mean, we kind of talked about this. We were chatting about it in the group Discord, but it's kind of hard to guess with some of the female actresses. I love how more inclusive Rings of Power is in terms of the type of characters we get and the exploration of different roles you don't always get. Mostly in the original trilogy, I think the Silmarillion does a much better job with that. But there's only so few canon characters even left to cast, both
Hmm.
male and female. But within female characters, it's hard to sit and think of you know who it could be. I think we listed off the majority of the characters that it could canonically be, and it's pretty implausible that she would be any of them. So I think it's probably going to be an original character. The question is just figuring out where. Um, but I mean, I'd be stoked if she was a Numenorian. The more Numenorians we can get. I've said this many times. Numenor needs more love. Numenor needs more attention.
Hmm.
So the more emphasis they can put on that's
Hmm.
just all right with me.
Nice. And Webcrawler, since this is your first time to kind of talk about this on air, what are your initial thoughts looking at these two new actors? Where do you see them landing?
Well, to reemphasize what Aiden was saying, yeah, there's not a lot of canon female characters in the Second Age. The only one I can think of right now that's been left out is Celebrian, and I somehow don't think she's going to be playing Celebrian.
Hmm.
So
Wouldn't that be wild?
they did say that there's a time jump, but anyway. What I do know is I was looking into who Elena Sorrell, what her filmography is, and I noticed that she played a character on HBO's Industry. And I also noticed that back in September, during the second season airing, there was an announcement about the season 3 Trop writers, and one of them, I think it was Anna Davies. She was a consulting producer on Industry at one point. So I'm wondering if this is one of her decisions to bring in Elena Sorrell.
Ooh, hot goss there.
I mean, I think that tracks. I think the creatives like to work with creatives they've worked with before. They know they can trust. They know they can rely on. So I think that's probably not too far-fetched.
Yeah, so as to who she could be playing, I'm not quite sure, but Industry is one of those Succession-style TV shows, but it's a little bit more darker side of the business world. So I'm kind of hoping she ends up in Numenor, where they kind of need a little bit more of that darker political manipulation type of energy in the plot.
Yeah, and what do you think for Carl?
Carl, very little idea. He comes from, I guess, a theater background, similar to who was one of the Elf Avengers last season, Oliver. Same kind of background. So I'm thinking like maybe he'll be another elven warrior type thing.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm still up in the air for both. I feel like whatever I predict is going to be opposite, so I'll just I'll plead the fifth for right now.
It's so hard to typecast for this show. Like, I really do appreciate that this show doesn't, and I know it's something that some people struggle with about the show, but it's something I really like, is that all the elves don't look like this, and all the dwarves don't look like this. It's like you see a casting announcement, and you can't just like know immediately, okay, this is gonna be another elf. Like, there's been casting in the past where like, oh, this has got to be an elf, or oh, this is a dwarf, and then it's a Harfoot, or it's a human. And I think that that's really one of the strengths of the show. I know that there's people out there that want every race to look identical, copy and paste. I think that the Jackson films contribute into that a little bit with but I think the hard thing about the Jackson films is that the elves were not really as big of a force in the story. It's about the fading. They're kind of background characters. You got Legolas, who's big. So a lot of them look pretty similar. They've all got kind of the same long hair, same flowy robes. And so for a show like Rings of Power, where there's all these different elf characters that have this principal focus, I think it is much more important to have them look different and look unique from one another, not just all have the exact same hairdo, the exact same features. And so I really appreciate about that the show. I think it makes it much more visually distinct and interesting to watch.
Yeah, that's a great point. And we have Storyteller in the chat. Nice to see you as always. So looks like he sees warrior vibe, not politician vibe. So hope she's human. I could see that. Maybe some kind of ranking in the Numenorian army, because hopefully we get a little bit more focus there this season with what the canon moments to come. So I could see that.
Maybe she'll be Arthur's executioner.
Could be a faithful warrior with an Arya.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point.
That's true. I mean, we talked about canon female characters, and even though they never get names in the lore or much exploration, Anarion and Isildur both did get married at some point. So
yeah, makes sense. I don't know if I can show it, but speaking of female characters in Tolkien, I'm wearing my War of the Rohirrim shirt right now.
Oh yeah,
very cool.
Props to Hera.
Love to see it.
Let's see. Well, I guess we can jump into the major news for today, which came out this week, which is the casting of 3 new actors in season 3. So we have, hopefully I get this right, we have Andrew Richardson to the left,
Correct.
Zoomin Varla to the middle, and Adam Young to the right.
Oh, flawless, Shiv. You got them all. You got them all correct. You were
Well
so
done.
worried.
And I definitely did not have notes up when I said those. That was all from the top of my head.
Bravo.
He's a natural.
Look at me go here. See, Storyteller jumped in the chat here again. Let me see. All right, Storyteller. What's your favorite mythic race in Rings of Power? Then I guess
Varking
humans.
up to this.
Numenorians. Come on, Numenorians.
Varking is shadow lurking in the chat. He's trying to dispel anti-elf rhetoric.
Anarion.
Yeah, that's jumping ahead a little bit. We're gonna talk about that. I think that's the most popular fan cast by far. Let me see if I can find.
So I think we know what that's in reference to. Yeah, so we can jump into that now. Let's see. So the first actor to the left is Andrew Richardson, and we saw a lot of comparisons in the community this week. Jessica Anatar commented Anarion, which I think could be a close contender for the highest theorized role for him, for Andrew.
That one's definitely getting a lot of steam here. I'm about to drop a photo for you. You can get linked because there's some good evidence that he could be Anarion. He definitely looks the part.
Pulling it up now.
Yeah, he's got the big sad brown eyes that Maxim Baldry has, and so a lot of people are theorizing based on that as well.
Yeah, I could. Having this image up, you can totally see the potential resemblance. 100%.
Oh yeah, I personally didn't see it at all when like the first images came out, but the more I saw people posting comparisons of them side by side, like I link the tweet. Oh boy.
Link my tweet.
Oh, I think that's it.
There's also a comparison image to Lloyd Owen, and there's some similarities there.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They have very similar eyes. Like I definitely think that. Again, we talk about this. It makes it so hard to speculate because this guy could just as easily end up being a dwarf or a Harfoot.
Or guard number 6.
Yeah. Well, I think they said that he's going to be there's
recurring?
2 different because there's 2 different things they use to describe the new cast. It's recurring, or is it? They don't say core cast member, do they? What's the exact terminology they use?
Ooh, that is great. I want to say I saw recurring characters, but I could be incorrect.
Because as far as I heard, there's like 2 tiers of new characters where it's like Círdan is a recurring role, and then Elrond is like regular. That's what it is. Wow.
Okay, I have the Variety article open in front of me right now. It says Andrew Richardson, Zubin Varla, and Adam Young. Richardson will be a series regular, and the other 2 will be recurring roles.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, he could be a regular guard number 6.
Yeah, I feel like getting that label series regular, that seems like an Anarion to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I talked about this. We talked about this in the last stream about Oh, hi, Priscilla. We talked about, or I said I thought that maybe Tom Taylor was going to be an Arian because there's a couple, pieces of evidence that point towards him being in the show. His talent director tagged him in a post about Rings of Power, I believe. He was at the premiere. He follows Morbith on Instagram. There's like a couple clues that led people to think that he might have been cast in season 2, and then maybe his role was pushed to season 3 or something. And so I thought he might be an Arian. This picture makes me rethink it a little bit. Yeah. If sorry, I'm forgetting his name too now. If Andrew is a series regular, I feel like it has to be an Arian, because I think that him and Elendil are going to share. I think the Elendil like Muriel story from season 2, basically all that screen time I think is going to be Elendil and Anarion now. I think they're going to spend a good chunk of time together and do a lot of stuff in Numenor.
And does anyone in the chat have a different theory for who Andrew could be playing?
I mean,
or do we have a consensus here?
He's got to be an Arion. I mean,
if we think about where we left off at the end of season 2, right? There's obviously the major plot point of Elendil heading out west to meet up with Anarion specifically. There's Durin and, the looming threat of his brother wanting to take power. The War of the Elves, which I think we kind of have the key players for that already established. Doesn't seem like there's much room to introduce new characters for that. Theo's dad, Priscilla's TV. that is another looming mystery, yeah. And then the last plot point would be, out west with the Pelargir, Southlands, humans, Harfoots, that whole region, where there's some loose ends with regards to where the plot can go. So yeah, I mean, if we're going to be focusing more on the War of the Elves in Numenor, it makes sense for him to be, if he's going to be a regular, to be on somewhere in the Numenor plot.
Yeah. My hot take is I don't think they're ever going to reveal who Theo's dad is. I think that is I think that's a dead end. I think that's a red herring. I don't think there's anything important with that. I think he was just some guy.
He went out to get some milk and he never came back.
They're gonna do the Star Wars thing where next season they'll be like, "Oh, your dad was no one, Theo," and then in season 4 they'll be like, "Actually, your dad was the Witch King."
Theo Skywalker.
Oh boy, let's not. Okay, next guy on the list.
All right, so we have in the middle now, Zubin Varla. Yeah, you know what? I'll jump in here. I'm gonna go with someone from Rune.
And what might I ask led you to such a daring guess?
I just feel like he's got like knightly qualities. And so then that could be Numenor. There we go. I don't know.
I mean, does that have anything to do with the fact that he voiced one of the Gaudrim in season 2?
That could be a big reason, potentially.
I think that has a little bit of sway on my opinion of who he's going to be.
Then definitely. All right. Well, there we go. Sounds like everyone's in agreement there. Of
I thought you'd seen that. Sorry, I thought you were playing it up.
No. I did not see that. Look at that. I had a successful potential guess, and then it's going to turn out to be a Harfoot.
So you know what? well, that would be funny. I mean, just because he voiced a character doesn't mean he has to play that character. Because I mean, John Rhys Davies did Gimli and Treebeard, so maybe he'll voice a Gaudrim, and then he'll just be some random other guy.
He does kind of look like Dan Smith or Dylan Smith. Is that Dylan Smith? I think. Poppy's. No.
I was gonna say Poppy's dad is under a pile of rock right now. We're never seeing him.
Yeah, I think that he kind of looks like, I think it's Dylan Smith is the actor. Kind of looks like him too, but that'd be a wild swing in my opinion.
Yeah, I want him to be Kamal. I want the Gao Dream to kind of be revealed to be a part of the Easterlings. I think that it's very interesting that, and I can easily see J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay latching onto this idea too, because I mean we've talked about before the Mirror of Galadriel scene. There's that one throwaway line about Poppy's dad is also Theo's dad. Sorry, that's so good. There's that one throwaway line about like Sauron perceiving her mind and trying to get back in or something, and they use that whole just throwaway line to build up like, what does that relate to? Like, what could that be? And that's so interesting. And I think that same exact curiosity and attention to detail in the text is going to let them, or is going to lead them into wanting to explore Kamul as the principal Nazgul figure besides the Witch King, because I think it is very interesting that out of all the Nazgul, the only one we ever get a name for is Kamul, the Easterling.
Right.
So I can easily see the showrunners being like, why is he the only one we get a name of? What is it that he does that makes him so much more impactful than the rest of the Nazgul that he deserved to have his name mentioned when the rest of them are just great kings and warriors from the Second Age that were corrupted by the rings? And so I would love to see Kamul kind of take on the role as the principal Nazgul before, of course, the Witch King comes in.
Right. And,
or maybe Kamul even becomes the Witch. That's probably a break in lore there, but
they've played around with lore a little bit. So, that's not out of the realm of possibility. But yeah, like going back to the end of season 2, they left sort of a lot of open threads on the rune plot with the Galdrim being at odds with the Dark Wizard. I can't remember the name of the character that he voiced, but I think it was in episode 2 where he had that one line. Galdrim number 3. He did. There was another character besides Bronk that spoke at the end of season 2, or at the end of episode 2 in season 2. And so I'm wondering if that's who he was. And that guy kind of had like a second in command type vibe. And then, of course, we know at the end of season 2, Bronk unfortunately dies. Rest in peace, Bronk.
Yeah.
So, there might be a little bit of maybe a revenge angle to this character. That could be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, is there any storylines we haven't discussed? So we have, where did
we've got the
Aryan.
We
keep
the Harfoots. I feel like we're so unwilling to I think that's why we get burned every season, is because we're so unwilling to assume that someone will be a new Harfoot or Falahide or Stewart character, that we're just like, no, they have enough characters there that anytime someone new comes up, it's the last thing we consider. We never want to settle on this person being a Harfoot.
Will we get Falahides in season 3? Is that a possibility?
I don't know if it could be season 3. I imagine by the end of the show. I think the very clear arc for Nori's storyline is she starts off with the Harfoots, she gathers the Stewards, then they find the Falahides, and all three of them come together to settle the Shire, which is what we know happens in the lore. And even though, again, they're
Suzat.
The Suzat, yeah. Which is, oh man, I think I was watching a Prancing Pony podcast breakdown of that or something, where they were laughing about them calling it the Suzat because the word Suzat means the Shire, and so they're calling it the Shire.
Oh god.
Which is, I love stuff like that, because only the most, the top 1% of Tolkien nerds are gonna be upset about something like that.
Shout out to the linguists out there.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love those kind of breakdowns. But no, I think the Falahides will come in. I think they'll do the Shire is settled towards the end. I think Gandalf might play a part in that a little bit. I hope not. I kind of don't want him to be one of the people that helps settle the Shire. I'd rather it just be the proto hobbits.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'm almost kind of wondering, like, I don't know if either of you watched Game of Thrones. I think Shiv, you might have. I feel like we talked about it before, but
Yep.
I almost wonder if they're going to do like a Bran storyline for the Harfoots, wherein he was just gone from a season. Do you remember that? Like, there's a whole season of Game of Thrones where Bran and like the whole North of the Wall storyline was just gone.
Was it season 5?
I can't remember. And I don't know if they could do that with this with only 5 seasons, only 8 episodes per season. But I almost wonder if they, and again, the time jump makes that harder. If we weren't doing a time jump, then I would say there was more likely. But I'm almost curious if they are just going to do like a season break from the Harfoots and just say that they were traveling the whole time. But with the time jump, I don't believe it. And I also think the show is pretty adamant on having the Harfoots in as sort of, the hobbits are a big part of the iconography of Lord of the Rings. And I think the showrunners also really appreciate the levity that they bring to some of the darker aspects of this time period. But, we keep funneling back to that issue where I just don't know how much time we have for all of these storylines. And with everything that needs to happen, with everything that needs to happen next season, like, I like the Harfoots. I like them as an isolated story. But with everything that has to happen next season, the idea of a big Harfoot subplot of them just traveling around trying to find the Suzat, it just doesn't get me excited. It just feels like, all right, we're taking away time from Numenor, which no one cares about, which is a problem.
And I don't know when this would come into play in the series. There is one aspect of the lore where the hobbits may or may not make an actual appearance in the Second Age. And that is after Sauron takes power and he burns the forests around. Is it Greenwood or Rovanian? And
burns a lot of forests.
The massacre of the Entwives.
Yeah,
that's
basically that's where the Harfoots started off at the beginning of the series.
Mm-hmm. And so, we did see them in the same forest as the Entwives, and in the lore, at least, they were rumored to have known the Entwives. So, I'm wondering if some of this is sort of set up for that.
Ooh, and looking at the map too, right? So, kudos to rop-map.com. It looks like they're working on season 2, but for season 1, this was the travels, and we know season 2, Nori heads to Rune. So if the end goal is to get to the Shire all the way to the left, might have to walk through this territory yet again, and maybe that is where we see the massacre since Sauron is kind of running rampant now. Maybe we do see
I kind of think that Sauron is going to be in Rune a fair amount this season. I think he's going to have a lot to do with the Gowdream subplot. I think he's going to... I mean, we know the War of Elves takes place in Eriador. But I think he's just going to be all over the map this season.
He's got 9 rings to give out. So
exactly. I think he's going to leave his army to distract the elves while he kind of plays messenger.
Yeah, that would be a good diversion.
Yeah.
Also, I just had a total crack theory. So, you know what they could do for the Harfoot arc that would make people so upset, but would technically align with lore, which is there's this line that says that in the War of the Last Alliance, members of every race fought on both sides save elves, who only fought on the side of good. We know that the Harfoots are around at this time. What if Nori joins the battle of the Last Alliance with the Harfoots?
Oh, jeez.
Harfoots and Stewards and Fallowhides.
You could make a YouTube essay explaining why. Well, I guess it's technically lore accurate because Tolkien did say that beasts and folk of every type fought on both sides.
There is a point. There is a point to be made there.
I'm just saying. When those season 4 early images release, and when Fellowship of Fans breaks the news of that image that's going to be floating around of Nori in full plate mail,
I mean,
just
it
know.
would be a nice visual callback to Pippin and Merry at the Battle of the Black Gate.
Oh my gosh!
Return of the King.
There's layers and layers. There's so much to this. This is not just a crack theory. This is the truth.
There's that moment in that scene where they're all charging, and then you see Pippin and Merry just kind of like speeding up in front of Gandalf.
Gosh!
It always just kills me how quickly their feet are running.
Oh my god. Nori's like SEAL Team 6. They use Nori to infiltrate. Oh god.
She like drops down on a vine and like snaps someone's neck, and then Poppy pulls her back up real quick.
Oh god. And Jessica Anatara wrote that Zubin he's a wonderful singer, so I don't know, that's putting him back into the Harfoot camp almost.
I don't want singing to be exclusive. I know that Amazon doesn't have the balls to do this, but a singing battle with Sauron would be one of the most lore accurate things they could do. It would be so incredible to see.
I mean, they've had a couple of different singing and vocal moments with the Harfoots, of course, but also the dwarves.
Yeah.
The elves have had singing things, yeah.
The elves
Gandalf
singing.
or Tom Bombadil.
Yeah.
I will say I'm not trying to bash in any way the singing of the show. I was just saying more in like terms of it used as like a combative sense, because I think that's one of the coolest moments in the Silmarillion is when Finrod and Sauron have their rap battle.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. No, I was just more so thinking about how like they seem to be inclined to want to open up the singing to multiple cultures, not just keep it relegated to a few. So we might, if he is a runic character, we might get some runic singing. That could be interesting.
That would be awesome.
Oh, and Rune's theme has the Bulgarian
choir.
The choir. So that could be haunting. That'd be really cool if they tap into that.
Yeah. I not to get too sidetracked on the singing, but I love what this show has done with the different musical elements, and especially Bear McCreary at the helm. He loves exploring new types of. I mean, we got heavy metal in last season of Rings of Power. When I first heard that, I was like, all right, I'm interested, but I don't know how it's going to work. And then it was just flawless. Like it fits so perfectly, and so like I'd love to see.
R.I.P. Damrod.
My friend texted me out of the blue literally 2 days ago. Said I'm missing Damrod real bad right now. Called him the scariest guy to ever work at GameStop.
I can't believe that they were able to get Meshuggah's vocalist too for that. Oh, so cool. I love the metal representation and how like metal's kind of, I wouldn't say becoming mainstream, but at least it's trickling in certain areas. And Meshuggah, it's insane that Bear McCreary pulled that off.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what he puts in for season 3, because I know he's probably already been thinking about it long before they even started.
Yeah.
Oh, I forget the theme name. This is going to sound so obscure, but maybe you guys know the title.
I'll get it. I'm a soundtrack nut.
So I want to say Bear McCreary said it was the last track he wrote for season 1, and it's the track.
It's Noel Matar.
Is it the chase scene?
Yeah, Noel Matar.
Yeah, I love that. That's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
if this
I
is
love that he used it more in season 2.
Yeah, it's a top-tier track. I really like it too. I like how it blended with Galadriel's at the end of the season.
Yeah. It reminds me. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank. Oh, man, I'm doing so bad this morning. The Star Wars theme from the episode 1.
Duel of
That's
the
like
Fates.
Duel of the Fates. Exactly. This is like the Duel of the Fates of Rings of Power. It's so powerful.
Absolutely.
Oh man. Oh, let's see what we got here. I've been ignoring the chat for a second. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Only thing for me is Arondir's theme.
I mean, hard disagree. I love the Arondir theme. I can see that though.
I like that there was a little bit of melancholy to it this season.
Well, because it was the Arondir Bronwyn theme. It was both of their themes in season 1, and so the fact that I think it was repurposed into just his theme, and I haven't read the entire blog on it yet, but I feel like I remember Bear McCreary even saying that he like cut some of the instruments from it to show that like the theme was only half as full at that point because he'd lost the other half of it.
The interesting thing though is that I think it's in episode 3 when Arondir has his big action moment against the Southlanders, right, and saving Isildur, and it's got a much more trumpety sound. And hearing that, it really reminded me of the Mirkwood Elven themes from The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. And I wonder if there's some similarity in that intentionally because of Arondir being from the Greenwood, as we learned.
Yeah, I could easily see that. My favorite part of any soundtrack is when you've got a theme and you play it at like different. Like I love when you get just a similar theme and you can play a melancholy version of it and you can play an upbeat version of it, and like you just see the different ranges it goes. And Bear McCreary does that with everyone's themes. We got the battle version of Elrond's theme this season, which I didn't think was even possible because his theme is such a sweet, like elven theme, and then they turned it into like a battle charge. I was like, damn.
He's sweet until he has to catapult you.
That's a good random. We can take a quick detour. What's your favorite character theme? A detour of a detour. Favorite character theme.
Oh boy, that's a tough one.
I know mine. I'll go first. Galadriel's theme. It's like an earworm, and I love when they combine it with epic stuff, like season 1 when she's on the raft and there's like a storm. Like her theme is super epic in that. So that's my vote.
Well, I'm biased, but my favorite theme is the Elendil and Isildur, aka the Faithful theme. And I also like the variations that Bear has done with it. He talks about in his blog that each character that has that theme has their own instrumentation of it to represent them. So like Eärion's one is with like a flute. Isildur's one uses some of the same instruments as the Southlands theme, and so
that's so
cool. I'm looking forward to what he uses for Anarion when we get him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's gonna be. I'm going with the sleeper pick though. The Stranger's theme.
That's
wow.
I think it's overlooked, but I don't love the beginning of it when it's like the little like chimes or whatever, but the actual like medley of it is so good, especially when it swells at the end of this season. Season 2 just had a great, and you know, I'm a diehard Gandalf fan. He's probably my favorite character in all of fiction, and to finally have a Gandalf theme, like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Gandalf.
Oh yeah.
Gandalf.
I bust out my Gandalf figure, but I took him to decorate my desk at work this week, so I don't have him anymore.
Nice. Yeah, Gandalf's. I would love to see Gandalf's theme in an epic version. I feel like we haven't fully gotten that yet, but maybe like when he's featured in a battle or something, we'll get some crazy. Oh, we have?
I'll put you on it after this.
Yeah, I think there's a version when he's fighting the Mystics at the end of season 1, right?
Sandstorm at the Well is a really good rendition of his theme.
That one
I'll
kind
check
of
it out.
blends in the rune theme as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that one's really good.
yeah. The
Oh.
staff, another good one.
Locations can be characters
Location.
too.
Do we need to go on a tangent of the tangent? Do our favorite location theme? Because mine's got to be
Andunye.
Harfoot Moon.
Really want to see Andunye, the western shores of Numenor.
Ooh, yeah. I think I'm gonna have to go with Rune because I love the Bulgarian
Runes.
chant choir.
Mm-hmm. More rune would be nice.
Man, we got really sidetracked on this.
Yeah.
Adam Young.
Okay, Adam Young. So I have a comparison I'd like to make with Adam Young. So he's the actor to the right. I was too lazy to find a photo, but hopefully this works. So that's Robert Strange. So I feel like there's a decent resemblance to him. And so if I pull Adam Young back up, here we go. I feel like Robert Strange, he plays an orc. I feel like there's a potential for Adam to play an orc, but like my gut when I first saw him was like, oh, elf. So like because I'm always wrong, I'm just gonna like, okay, I'm gonna take a 180, so I'm going orc for him. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts? Like, what do you think is the most likely for Adam?
I'll let Web Crawler go.
That's a tough one because I was looking into his background to see if he'd done any like sort of costume work because I think Robert had done that before, and so that's a pretty good
Wow.
indication of if someone wants to spend 8 hours a day in an orc mask. I couldn't find anything, so I have my doubts about him being an orc. So beyond that, maybe a human, maybe an elf, maybe another runic character. It's hard to say.
Yeah. Oh, I like the idea of it being Glug's grown son. I think I'm almost positive we are going to get another Glug character in season 3. I think even in the movies, there's almost always a principal orc figure in each movie. There's always a commanding orc. You know, you've got Lurtz, Shagrat, Gothmog. There's a lot of like really iconic, memorable orcs from Lord of the Rings. And season 1, I guess, was it Shaka?
It was Magrot, wasn't it?
I think so. I'm trying to remember. It was the character that
Vrah.
I'm blanking on the. Sorry, what was it?
There's a couple of orcs speaking.
Vroth. Yes, it was
characters,
it was the character that I'm spacing on his name. I feel so bad. He's the actor. He played Nori. He played an elf. He played
Jed Brophy.
Jed Brophy. Yes, thank you. He played so many characters in
Oh.
the Peter Jackson movie. He played Vroth in season 1, who I guess was kind of the principal orc.
Yeah.
But even more so, if we're going off this theory of that Sauron is going to be using the orcs as a distraction while he's off giving rings to different kingdoms, there's going to need to be someone commanding the armies. And so I think that there is going to be a principal orc. It's not going to be Glug, which is a shame. It would have been cool to see, but I guess I understand why they got rid of him, because his whole arc was that, yeah, there he is. But Glug's whole arc was that he didn't want to fight anymore. So him being Sauron's right-hand man would have never worked as a story beat. As much as I liked the character and wanted to see more of him, it does make sense for his story to end there and be replaced by a crueler, more commanding orc. And so I think whoever that is going to be the person leading Sauron's army.
This orc was pretty menacing too in season 1.
That's
Did he
Magrot.
die? Yeah, Arondir killed him with the tree branch. That's right.
Yep.
I love that orc was wearing one of the elf helmets we saw in the prologue. I thought that was a really cool detail.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone here mentioned that Adam Young was an elf in Witcher Blood Origin, which I haven't watched yet.
Yeah, I've seen the photo of that. Let me see if I can get that from the chat.
Maybe he's cool with like mild prosthetics.
And I saw this in the chat. We kind of did not plan this stream that far ahead, so we we did this pretty last minute, threw it together. But we're gonna try going forward to give as much notice as we can. And what we're thinking about doing is, if we have enough content to talk about, we want to switch to having like a pretty defined schedule of the dream would be streaming every Sunday and have a certain time that we try to stick to. Like I want to say, oh God, I don't have the time thing in front of me, but anyone on the Eastern Daylight Time right
Yeah.
now is like 1:30 range, right?
Yeah,
Which
so-
was that's
so
5
it's,
hours. You
I think what we're aiming for is like 10:30 West Coast, 2:30 East Coast, and then 6:30 UK time is kind of the
6:30.
window we're planning on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today was a little bit of a we do apologize that the notice went out as late as it did. We forgot it was Father's Day. We had this plan and we kind of had to like restructure last minute because some of us have things we have to get to later in the afternoon and dinners and family events, and so we had to push it back a little bit. And so, yeah,
It's okay.
sorry that it was such a late notice, but
Yeah.
mostly it's just been a recap. We are going to do some updates about Fellowship of the Fans moving forward towards the end, but
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, and thanks for the super chat. I wanna hey guys, thanks for everything you do. And Jamie Campbell Bauer is
Caligorm.
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 Ooh.
Haven't
would
heard
be
that one.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited to see Jamie
Love to
Campbell
see the
Bauer.
Sons of Feanor pop up.
Awesome. All right, so Robert Strange, we talked about him for a little bit. Any other theories before we jump on to the next topic?
I've heard it floated around that he could be Glorfindel. I think there's a decent chance that.
Ooh.
I'll put it this way: we are either going to get. I'll stake my. I'll stake my membership in Fellowship of Fans on this claim right now that I'm going to make, which is we are either going to get Glorfindel or we're going to get Celeborn in season 3. We might not get both, but we're at the point in the series we have to get one or the other at this point. And if I'm wrong, then Shiv can personally fly out here and beat me to death with a club.
Shiv you.
He wants.
Shit.
I missed the obvious.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. I think, we're going to be 3 seasons in, pretty much halfway through the show. If you're going to bring in Glorfindel and Celeborn, this is probably the season to do it.
Unless. Just had it.
I mean, yeah.
The Avengers Endgame portal scene with the ships of Valinor showing up.
Glorfindel jumping out of a portal. I'm here, guys.
They do like the Sonic ring thing where they like spin the elven rings. They make these big portals.
I have a very hot take that I think they will combine aspects of Celeborn and Glorfindel together.
I'm
And
sure.
bring one character in as opposed to 2. But that's
Ooh,
a very hot take.
that
you
is a
don't
hot
have to.
take.
You don't have to put too much stock into that.
I agree that they could combine elements, but I don't think that they're going to pass on the opportunity to
Have Glorfindel
include both characters. I think they're
Right.
both iconic in their own right.
Mhm.
But
That's a good point. Well, I guess we can move on to the next area here, which is kind of talking about the future of Fellowship of Fans and some ideas. Some ideas we're throwing around.
I better not be seeing the Sindar name of Celeborn in the chat.
Wow. Nice. So let's see, share my screen here. So we have a couple of ideas of what we want to do for some fun streams. So we're thinking about orchestrating a trivia night coming up, and we have a couple of ways to do it. We could do Fellowship of Fan members versus each other, and it'd be a bloodbath, probably to mostly because my lore is a little fuzzy.
I would just rig the questions for me if I'm putting it together. Make sure I win.
How do you spell Frodo?
I've already got the answer pre-written. F-E-R.
No. So we could do that. We could do Fellowship versus the chat, where we set up like a poll, and the chat gets to write their answers versus our answers. See where that goes. We could do Fellowship versus guests, invite people on the show. So that's one of the ideas floating around. We also have, I wish I remember the date, but Tales of the Shire is coming out.
Ooh, it's
soon.
July 29th. Hold on. I'm performing a Google.com search.
It's July 29th, 2020.
No way. I just rattled that off the dome.
Wow.
Available on all platforms, it seems.
So we might do a Tales of the Shire gameplay playthrough if we can get the technical side of that figured out and someone purchases it. Might have a hang and play
game, maybe.
I've been eyeing a Switch 2 for a while, but I can't. I'm too scared to pull the trigger right now.
There's just not. We could go on a tangent about that. So there's just not enough games on it yet to warrant.
Yeah. And a third option we're thinking about is doing a Jackbox. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Jackbox, but you can tailor their mini games with prompts. So we were thinking about doing a Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth inspired prompt in Jackbox and do some fun games like Quiplash. I think they have Trivial Pursuit or something like that. And we can even do drawing, right? Drawful.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I was looking into that. There's a couple ones that said you can do custom prompts for it. I know that Quiplash is the easiest one to do.
Yeah.
Or Drawful might be the other one that's easy. But there's a couple that they said you could do, but some of them involve going into the code and metadata for the game.
Oh, jeez.
Which I can try to figure that out, but I think Quiplash and Drawful, I think, would probably be the easiest options for now.
Yeah. So we'll definitely brainstorm on these, and if anyone in the chat has any other things they would like us to do, totally game for it. We're gonna try to figure out how to do a recurring stream every Sunday if we have enough content, and we can throw some of these in, or these could just be ad hoc on different days. But yeah, that's the dream here, is get more content out there and have some fun along the way. And me cry for not knowing all the trivia answers.
As we wait for more and more news about season 3 with time.
Exactly.
Let's look at the thing about Jackbox is you don't have to feel embarrassed for not knowing the lore. You'll just feel embarrassed for not being funny because your answers will be good.
Exactly. So I can cry. I have two ways of crying: for not being funny or for not knowing the lore. Yeah, so these are some of the things we're experimenting with right now. Another thing, if I can figure out, I would love to do is revisit the movie tie-in video games. So doing that would be amazing. Yeah. Maybe I'll figure out if there's some way of emulating it or something. But I love.
There's gotta
Battle
be.
for Middle Earth 2. Come on.
Oh, Battle for Middle Earth.
Oh, you know what you're talking about. Oh my gosh. That's like the biggest heartbreak of my life. When I was growing up, we had the giant CD case for it.
Oh.
You remember back in the day when to download a game, you needed to download it with 8 different CDs.
Part 1, part 2.
Yeah. Exactly. It was now download the texture assets on disc 3. And the only disc we lost was the one you actually needed to play the game. No. So we just had this container full of all these pointless discs that did nothing but download the game. And I was so bummed because, man, I loved that game. It was so much fun.
That happened to me with Final Fantasy VII, the third CD, which is the Final Battle CD, got all scratched up.
Oh no!
There was a game, so kind of related, but not really related to Middle Earth. I'll see if I can pull it up. Maybe I can just share my window. 'Cause we're kind of towards the tail end of the stream here. Anyway, I think it's this one. Let's see. There's a game for the original Xbox called Kingdom Under Fire, and I was obsessed with this game because what it allows you to do is control a hero where you button smash. So you go into melee with, I don't know, hundreds of characters on screen and just do combos and stuff. But you also get to control units. So you get to walk around and control from a bird's eye view your cavalry, your archers. So there's like battle strategy involved. It's kind of like Battle of Middle Earth with some button smashing too. A lot of fun, and like they released a sequel that kind of unfortunately flopped semi recently. They kind of they flew too close to the sun and was trying to do like MMO and all this different stuff, and they kind of lost the heart of the game. But yeah, the originals for the Xbox, amazing. So I used to play this a lot with the movie tie-in games. So great.
Yeah, we just got to get more stuff like that. I mean, we've been kind of talking about this at Fellowship of Fans, how like a lot of the news and updates kind of revolve around Rings of Power, but we're currently in the off season. It's going to be another year and then some before we actually get a season we can talk about. Until then, it's just going to be leaks and rumors and updates. And so we want to try to like continue to provide more spaces like this and fun things we can do in the interim to kind of stay connected as a community. So that's kind of where these ideas for trivia night, Jackbox, maybe some other, we've got some other ideas that are cooking that we aren't quite ready to divulge yet, but just fun community things to kind of, keep us all from going mad in the interim while we wait for more stuff to talk about.
There's only so many different ways we can theorize about how Celeborn will return.
Oh my gosh, I don't want to say it, but like, if I have to talk about Jamie Campbell Bower being Celeborn one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind. Who do you think Jamie Campbell Bower is gonna be? Oh my gosh, I haven't thought about it much.
Is he a prisoner? Is he stuck on Tall Morwen? Is he coming back on a boat with Glorfindel? Who knows?
Does remind me? Is this common for most TV shows to like announce cast members but not who they're playing, or is this like kind of exclusively a Rings of Power trend where they release the whole cast and then they don't reveal until right up until the beginning of the season? Because I feel like a lot of shows, they'll announce a cast member and they'll say, we just cast this person, they're gonna play X, Y, or Z. I feel like Rings of Power never tells you, which is like, it's kind of fun to theorize, but it gets old.
The secrecy. I mean, I don't want to say I'm like an expert TV watcher, but I've been around watching TV for years, and I mean, most shows.
I too have watched TV once in a while.
I don't want to call myself an aficionado, but yeah, it's like most TV shows. They announce the cast, they tell you who you're playing, and that's it. People talk about that. It's really strange that they like to make us sit and wait for so long.
Yeah, I mean, some of them I understand. Like, oh boy,
Sauron.
Do you remember? No, okay, that one, sure. But do you remember with an Hagen?
Mm-hmm.
That was the name of Estrid's husband. They announced him as like a cast member before season 2 came out, and so like I understand, like, because could you imagine if Rings of Power was like, so and so is going to be playing Hagen in season 2?
Who's Hagen?
Just be like, all right.
But I mean, that's still better than just. I mean, I understand for season 1.
Well, there's more to go off of, because you could be like, Hagen. What name does that sound like? An elf name? Does it sound like a Harfoot name? Like, yeah, it's like the hands posters, man. The children yearn for more hands posters.
I would take hand posters so happily right now. Like just a hand holding some item would be great.
Oh my gosh, or even just an emoji. Announce the actor and then give us an emoji. Like,
it made sense for season 1 because they wanted to introduce all these characters at once and bring in the second age. Season 2, it didn't make as much sense. Like, even if they told us, let's say, Kieran Hines was playing a Dark Wizard months ago, like, that really wouldn't have spoiled much for us, right? So
Yeah.
I think at this point, it's actually helping them market the show less, because people are just like, okay, well, I guess we'll find out when we find out. What's the point in thinking about it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure we've been talking about Jamie Campbell Bower longer than anyone else on the internet at this point. Like,
And Celeborn.
like every other Tolkien content creator has long moved on. Because I mean, like what else can you say about it?
I don't think
point?
Celeborn's ever been
folks,
this famous in his life.
Guaranteed every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, Fellowship of Fans will be here telling you once again, Jamie Campbell Bower is probably.
Not definitively.
It's one of the universal truths of this world now is, the sun rises and sets, everyone lives and dies, and Fellowship of Fans will predict who Jamie Campbell Power is playing every Sunday.
And then he comes out as a dwarf.
Yes.
He could be a good dwarf. I could see it.
Well, wow. So we hit an hour mark here. We were able to talk about the casting, future plans of Fellowship of Fans, hopefully doing the dream would be a weekly Sunday stream, but we'll see how things shake out. But yeah, it was great seeing some regulars in here. So Jessica Anatar, we saw Storyteller, Mickey Mouse, Doom, etc. Hopefully I didn't forget anyone. I'll have to look later. Sylvia. Oh, Priscilla too. Yep.
Priscilla.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah. So appreciate it.
Fellowship of Fans was in the chat.
Who dare comment?
That's crazy, though. I love those guys.
Yeah, everyone should go like and subscribe. Fellowship of Fans. I hear they put out some good stuff. Shout out.
Yeah, they follow me on Twitter. It's crazy.
Yeah, so it's great chatting with everyone as always, and hopefully you see us next Sunday if we can pull it together. And it's been an honor to chat with Aiden now, a handful of times. So, Aiden, any final words?
If I had to put a guess to Jamie Campbell, right? I'm just kidding. No, I've had a blast. It's been a lot of fun doing it. I hope we get to keep doing it. I'm working hard to put the trivia night together for everyone. I'm tentative. I don't want to make any promises about, the exact timeline. I want to try to get it done as soon as this week. I'd love to do a Saturday game night or afternoon, depending on where you live in the country, even as soon as June 21st. So if you're still in the chat and you're considering joining next week, I'm thinking that's the tentative plan, but don't hold me to it because I'm not in charge of scheduling, but I'll have it done by then at least.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. It'd be a lot of fun, and we'll announce it longer than an hour before. So
an hour and 15 minutes before.
And Web Crawler, is great chatting with you and hearing your thoughts. Yeah, hopefully you can join some more with us.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for having me. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it. As for final words, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing who all these new actors play. I'm looking forward to getting more news about season 2 as we go, or season 3 as we go along. And, hopefully some more awards buzz for the Rings of Power. We've got a lot of great creatives on.
Ooh, that's a good idea. We should do an Emmy breakdown for a stream maybe next Sunday and kind of talk about the categories. I mean, they pitch themselves for every category, so maybe we could go down the list and say whether we think they have a decent shot at winning this category, what we think if they don't have a decent shot, what we think they're like could apply for the category, what could be like the closest they could get to being nominated for it.
It's a tough season. I mean, you've got Andor, you got.
Oh, I know. I mean, I love Rings of Power, but I wouldn't be surprised if Andor
crushed it,
knocks it out of the water on some of these, and I wouldn't even really be upset about it. Andor is deserving.
But yeah, it would be fun to theorize about, what are the possible awards we could see Rings of Power win in season 2, not just for Emmys, but I think they've already been announced for some other nominations, other events. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
they won a BAFTA Crafts Award, I think.
Yeah, we'll have to. That could be a good topic. Discussing potential award and what they could potentially take home. I like it. All right. Well, it was great chatting with everyone, and hopefully we see you next week. Thanks again, and see you next time. Bye.
Take care. Bye.